This year has proven to be amazing for indie games across all platforms. The Nintendo Switch has seen so many games: Into the Breach, Yoku's Island Express, Bloodstained: Curse of the Moon, Dead Cells, The Messenger, Celeste, and the list continuously goes on because Nintendo has an incredible support system for indie developers. They love to bring over all of those games to their platform. It is truly a special thing. But even with all the indie games on the Switch, would you believe that they're still missing these awesome games? What's going on YouTube? My name is Ryan Ramakrishnan. If you guys are new around here, welcome to the channel. I like to post videos where I talk about games of all sorts. Many times we'll do some lists and discussions about the latest and greatest games. And today I want to tackle indie games. I'm a huge fan and proponent of indie games. You guys can check out more than a couple other videos on my channel where I talk about some of the best, particularly on the Switch. And today I'm looking at ones that are not. Nintendo has such a love, such a passion for indie games that they've shown off on the Switch this year and last year. And I'm sure the continuous support will look even better in the future. But there are many games, new and old, that are missing on the platform and totally deserve and kind of should be having a place right on the eShop. Without further ado, let's do it. These are the top 10 indie games that deserve to be on the Nintendo Switch. Number 10 on this list is Hue.
The traitorous Dr. Gray tried to steal the annular spectrum, a ring I developed to allow perception and alteration of colour.
The unique concept of changing colors is a really fun gameplay element that Hue does wonders with. You get to change the colors of the environment to alter what can be moved and what can be accessed, or vice versa. Hue has a fresh take on platforming and puzzles by using those aspects of color changing to your full advantage or disadvantage depending on how clever you are. It begins so simple, yet with time and new colors unlocked, it'll grow to become super challenging and thought-provoking, as well as being really rewarding with every puzzle and level completed. There's beautiful music to support the tone of the game that plays out the entirety of it and feels quite special. And the same can be said for the story about a mother and her lost relationship with her son and hopes that they can make things right. It is oddly compelling and very delightful overall, and that is the best way to describe the special adventure, one that has some really interesting ideas and a lot of charm to it and will be perfect on the Nintendo Switch. Taking the 9th spot on this list is Spelunky. An incredibly addicting and fun platforming game. This roguelike is one of the most iconic indie games, and for all the right reasons. Spelunky is so much fun to play in its exploration and sense of discovery. There is a true sense of wonder when you're exploring the underground world of Spelunky, and digging is just a blast to partake in. This indie game is still in the limelight today with every port and sequel in the works, thanks to how special it was when it released nearly 10 years ago. SteamWorld Dig 2 fans will love this game because of the roguelike aspects and the digging aspects of the game. Spelunky is a lot of fun to play, and SteamWorld Dig 2 blew up earlier this year. That will perfectly bring in old and new fans of these type of games if Spelunky was to come to the Switch. All of the fresh new levels and challenges around every corner, and a level creator and editor in the original version would have to return, of course, to let players be open to being as creative as possible with all sorts of level designs. Spelunky is truly a really fun game for creative people and fans of platforming roguelikes, and that is just about every single Nintendo Switch owner. Coming in at number 8 is Bit Trip presents Runner 2: Future Legend of Rhythm Alien.
Bit Trip presents Runner 2: Future Legend of Rhythm Alien.
The sequel, Runner 3, is already on the Switch, so first things first, let's face it, why would we not have access to this predecessor? Why shouldn't we be able to play Runner 2? The game has some extremely catchy music and addictive platforming. It is a whole lot of fun to play, and one of my favorite games that I played on the PlayStation 3 and rebought it on the PlayStation 4. This indie game is so much fun to challenge yourself at getting the best score, finding every collectible in its fast-paced 2D platforming levels, and just sitting back and enjoying the music. The joyous game is a delight to watch unfold with its rhythmic level design, making you want to nail every bit of it just for the most amazing sound effects possible. It is charming, and it is a glorious 2D platformer, which is kind of unique and fresh, but also something that every Switch owner deserves to play, especially with Runner 3 already available at their disposal. Taking the 7th spot on this list is Florence. This mobile game was released earlier this year and had an amazing sense of praise, and is fortunately still being recognized today. Florence, like I said, was released only on mobile platforms, so right there, it kind of has a home on the Switch if we were to be given that opportunity. The significantly less amount of love it got was because it's on the phone, but people who did get to experience Florence saw an amazing story. It is truly beautiful, a tale of relationships, childhood, love, and humanity as a whole. It is kind of a game that is going to connect with everybody in some sort of way. No matter what walk of life you're in, you'll probably find something special about Florence in its narrative. And there's a lovely musical tone to it to add to the narrative overall. The beautiful score and storytelling, and an interesting design concept overall to tell a story of this nature without any dialogue make Florence truly an impeccable game, one that is really interesting and deserving to be played by anybody. Being not everyone is interested in playing games on their phones, but the Switch is the best thing since sliced bread, why not bring Florence over to the Switch and let millions of more people experience the wonderful story? Holding a number 6 on this list is Superhot. This game has some simple yet really effective visuals and a really interesting idea of gameplay. The oversaturated genre of first-person shooters continues to be tested by some and fail to be impressive by others. Superhot does something different though. There's an idea where everything moves when you do, but the same happens when you stop. Everything will stop. So basically, Superhot decides to make you watch your environment, watch your AI around you, watch every enemy, and plan how you're going to move around. If you take a step and you continue to move, your enemies will as well, and that can get in your way. But once you freeze, everything else freezes around you, and that makes it a really tactical and clever game. Superhot is so smart in its execution. The design choices of really interesting visuals with a minimal amount of colors make it incredibly stylistic and really cool to watch unfold, and playing it feels amazing. So why not bring it over to the Nintendo Switch, as the console's continuously getting amazing ports of indie games and also bringing in first-person shooters finally to a Nintendo platform. Superhot is not a big daunting game like something along the lines of even Warframe, which had released on the Switch just this past month. Superhot would be a great game to pick up and experience on the go. Coming in at number 5 on our list, the halfway point is The Witness. This game from Jonathan Blow is one of the most critically acclaimed games of this generation, and it is a wonderful puzzle game. The Witness comes stacked with some beautiful visuals. There is such a gorgeous artistic direction in The Witness that makes every single environment look really amazing, even if it's kind of simple in execution. And that is just how pleasing the aesthetics are of this game. The Witness is all about some of the most creative puzzle designs you'll ever experience in a video game. Puzzles start off quite simple, but they will grow to become really advanced and very thought-provoking. There is a really interesting sense of exploration and wonder that come with every puzzle in The Witness. The game has some really deep puzzles to offer and makes you think and really gives you a satisfaction when you get to complete all those challenges. This is a perfect puzzle game for a platform that thrives on games you can pick up and play for a little bit here and there whenever is convenient for you. The Witness would be an amazing game to fire up on your Switch, tackle a puzzle, and then suspend it until next time. Coming in at number 4 is Braid. This is one of the original indie games. When you look at video game history and you look at the development of what is an indie game, you look at Braid, widely considered to be one of the best games of its kind. This game has everything from lovely music to an interesting story and amazingly executed platforming. It is a whole lot of fun to play, even to today's standards. This indie platformer has such a beautiful score, and the story is quite compelling, with interesting ideas to tackle, like time and reality manipulation, changing them all together. There are some really thought-provoking ideas, and quite frankly, a very shocking ending. Braid is said to be one of the most amazing games in the indie sphere, and the Switch is all about indie games. Every Switch gamer seems to fall in love with so many of them, particularly platformers. So when you bring ideas like an amazing iconic indie game, a platformer that is also amazing and iconic, and bring them together, and then throw it onto Nintendo's platform, which lets you play it on the go or on the TV, you have a match made in heaven. Coming in at number 3 is Thomas Was Alone. This puzzle platformer has you fitting different rectangles into a space to complete the levels. And that idea sounds kind of simple. Ultimately, Thomas Was Alone takes some really simple concepts and, well, it runs with them and makes an amazing game. Thomas Was Alone sees you playing as multiple characters, all simple shapes, just squares and rectangles with a different solid color. But the narration of the story gives them personalities. Somehow, Thomas Was Alone manages to give a really interesting arc and personality to every single simple square or rectangle in the game. There's some really smart level design where you get to play as each of those and help each other out. Thomas Was Alone runs with themes of friendship, love, relationships in general, and most importantly of all, helping one another out. That is the biggest theme of all, and that is how the game plays. So there's an amazing complement between gameplay and narrative, and it is all really beautiful, really interesting to follow, but simple, and just kind of fun, and sometimes funny, and a beautiful game overall. So much delight to the friendship narrative and storytelling, and Thomas Was Alone truly will hold a place in so many hearts if it ever can make its way over to the Nintendo Switch. Taking the number 2 spot on this list is Unravel, but also its sequel, Unravel 2. Now, it may seem like I'm cheating, but you can't have one without the other. We recently got Guacamelee and Guacamelee 2, and those games were always meant to be on this console, as are EA's Unravel and Unravel 2. They look so fitting for the Nintendo Switch. You look at the adorable characters of Yarny and his allies, and the world around Yarny, and they all look like something built for Nintendo platform. These platformers are a whole lot of fun to play, and they offer a very interesting idea of using yarn, something that Kirby and Yoshi fans may be familiar with. They are truly adorable games. There's so much charm in the way the story unfolds in a simple, low-key, but beautiful manner. The wonderful world around Yarny, and the development of him, and the designs overall, an amazing art direction, and even some co-op play in the sequel. A Switch mainstay, of course. Make these games perfect for the Switch. The interesting platformers truly deserve a place on Nintendo's hybrid platform, and would be perfect for gamers of all ages and of all interests, as this is a delightful experience, and its sequel is arguably even more so. Taking the top spot on this list is a tie between Hotline Miami and, of course, its sequel, Hotline Miami 2, Wrong Number. Like our number 2 spot with Unravel, you have to have both, the complete package. Hotline Miami is one of the most over-the-top and fun and amazing action games that I've played on the PlayStation 3. And when its sequel hit the PS4, I was overly hyped for the violence and the amazing music, of course. Hotline Miami is a top-down action game, perfect for quick sessions of trying and inevitably failing many times. The over-the-top violence makes it a blast to play. You pick up multiple weapons and fire away your enemies. Many times you have to be stealthy, figuring out your way around each corridor. What weapons will you use? Wearing different masks, each mask offering a unique thing, a unique skill or ability that the others would not. Sometimes you'll die because you didn't plan ahead. Sometimes you'll die because the enemies are absolutely brutal. Either way, this aesthetically pleasing game, looking like it's straight out of the 80s, is so much fun to partake in. The awesome vibes make it a thrill to play through as you listen to some amazing 80s techno music. The joyous action game is not for the faint of heart sometimes, but once you can handle the brutality and the success and failure cycle of gameplay, you'll find it to be thrilling and action-packed, and the sequel only capitalizes on everything that made Hotline Miami a wondrous indie action game. And there are no indie games that I could think of that deserve a place on the eShop more than Hotline Miami and Hotline Miami 2, Wrong Number. So those are 10 of the best indie games that deserve to be on the Switch, at least in my opinion. I think that Nintendo's console deserves to gain these games. They are all quite awesome in their own sense. Some tell amazing, delightful, impactful stories. Others come with incredibly fast and addicting platforming and action-packed sequences. Some have beautiful music, and others are just iconic in so many ways. So of course, those are the indie games that I want to come to the platform. But be sure to let me know which ones you want to see. What indie games do you love and wish to see make their way over to the eShop? What games do you want to replay on the Nintendo Switch? Be sure to let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. If you guys like this video, be sure to give me a thumbs up and maybe share with a friend. See what their favorite indie game is and which ones they think are missing from the Switch. With that being said, I'm Ryan Remember Christian. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the conversation all about indie games, and I hope that we can continue that in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.